Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we're going to make two bookmarks. We're going to do print and cut, and we're also going to do some vinyl, and we're making it a Halloween theme. So with that being said, here are some things that you're going to need for this tutorial. You're going to need your vinyl, your acrylic blank, which I got mine from Hobby Lobby. You can also order off of Amazon. And then you also need some type of ribbon. I'm using chiffon from Hobby Lobby. So then of course you're going to need a printable vinyl as well, which we'll talk about that here in a moment. So I'm going to scoosh this to the side. We're going to hop into Design Space, and then we're going to go ahead and start cutting out our material. Okay, the first thing that we need to do before we hop into Design Space is we need to measure our blank. I'm going to use 2 of them because we are going to be making 2 bookmarks in today's video. Again, 1 vinyl and 1 print and cut. So what we need to do is we need to measure the overall width, and this is going to be 2 inches, and then the height 6 inches, so 2 by 6. Okay, let's hop into Design Space. So I bought these off at Etsy. I'll be sure to put the link in the description box below. Now, what's cool about this is you can totally customize, which I mean, it wouldn't be really hard to customize it, right? But they give you an option to customize one bookmark, or you don't have to customize it at all. And so basically whoever the designer was, just ended up removing those 2, and you can put your name right there. So I'm actually not going to do that. I don't want to customize mine, but you can totally customize yours if you wanted to. Okay, so what I'm going to do is it's all grouped together. So before I make any changes, I'm going to change or ungroup everything. I'm going to change mine to 2, and then it is going to be by 6 inches. Okay, so let's zoom in a little bit. Okay, so everything looks good except for the flower, so we might have to modify that a little bit. So over here on the right panel, I'm going to click on ungroup, and let's see what this is. So those are the eyes. What's this? The pumpkin. Okay. Alrighty, so I guess the flowers are going to be white, and let me see here. We can attach them, and then what I like to do is hide them to make sure that everything's there. Okay, so there, we're good with that one. And then what is this one? That is that. We don't need to worry about that. I'm going to turn that off. What's this one? That's there. Okay, so we have, okay, I'm going to unlock this, or ungroup it rather. This one's good, and then this one I'm just going to move around. Okay, I think that's good. Now, I mean, it's not the end of the world. You can totally print this and kind of build it up on your own, but why do all that work when you can just attach them? Okay, so I'm going to hold down the Shift key, select each of these, and then hit attach. Okay, so now we have that one, and then we have this one. Okay, so I'm actually going to hide them because I don't need them anymore just yet. Okay, and then this one is all of the pinks, right? Yep, so I'm going to go ahead and hit attach, hide that one, and then this one is all of the orange, which good. I'm going to go ahead and attach them. And then this, I'm going to highlight all of it and then hit attach. Okay, so that just basically cleaned up everything. And I'm going to turn them back on because obviously we need them back on to cut our, don't need that one, our material. Alrighty, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that we need to cut out. So I'm going to hit make. Well, first let's go ahead and save this. You can cut down your vinyl to the size that you need. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick, and then we will continue on with this bookmark. What I did is I cut everything approximately to the size of the width, and then I didn't really trim down the length because I can just trim that down later. I'm using Tech Wrap vinyl, and some of their vinyl has this protective coating that you want to make sure that you get rid of. And I'm going to use a standard adhesive grip mat. This is Hobby Lobby's 405 brand. Even though Design Space is having them cut out into 5 different mats, we're going to put them all on one mat. And I'm going to show you how you can do that. I think I can. I think I can. It's like the train. But we're gonna see if I can. All right, so I'm just gonna trim this down like so. Gosh, I hope I cut that wide enough. Oh, wait, didn't it? Ew. I'm gonna have to go a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna have to go about 5. Right, so there's that, and then the pumpkin is going to be. Again, I'm going to cut it down, but I'm going to start it at the 4-inch mark, and I'm going to trim that down. Again, just doing an approximate, a little bit longer, way longer than I really need it. Okay, and then I'm just doing the order of the paper, or of the Design Space, that way I don't mess this up. And so I'm going to do this at 8 inches. There we go. And then, let's see here, I'm going to do the, let's see here. Okay, so yellow's going to be next. Now the yellow, I'm using this offset, or this off yellow, and I went ahead and not attached it because I didn't want to waste such a big piece. Plus, I already had this kind of pre-cut, so we're going to, I unattached this so that way I could just have it all in one area. And then this one's going to start this direction. And again, I don't want you going crooked. Please and thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I'm gonna have plenty of room. Just gonna go all the way over. Okay, so the reason why I did this is for 2 reasons. Okay, so let's look in Design Space. In Design Space, now what I get nervous about, now you could totally change all the colors to be the same color so they cut out on the mat, but I get worried about getting confused what color goes with what when putting it all on one mat. Okay, this is a way for me to use one mat without having to put it on 5 different times. It's all at once. So looking at my Cricut mat here, you'll see that the orange is at the 4-inch mark. So back in Design Space, I'm going to move this close to the 4-inch mark. Perfect. Now I'm going to go into the white. If you look here on the mat, it's at 8 inches. So I'm going to move this all the way over at the 8-inch mark. And then these 3 here, I'm going to move those all the way down. Okay, because if you look at the mat here, that's where my yellow/brown is at. And then the pink, I need to rotate this. So I'm going to hold down the shift button and rotate it, and then put it in the lower. Actually, I'm going to put it at the, if you look at the mat, I'm kind of slightly off the 5-inch, and I don't go all the way over to the 12-inch. So I don't want to go all the way over. So I'm going to just maybe put it right there. So that way the black will cut out. It will, you know, spit this back out. I'll put it back in, run the shimmer, then the white, then the brown, and then the blush pink. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the pink. The order really, I guess, doesn't matter, but and then I'm going to click on, I think this is permanent, but I'm just going to select removable matte just because that's one of my favorites, and I'm going to run this through the Cricut machine. Now, all my pieces have been cut. I'm going to flip my mat over, and I'm going to peel these off. Now, again, this basically just prevented taking it off, putting it back on, and then going through that process. Now, I do understand you could be weeding while the next one's being cut, but it's been my experience that something like this cuts really quickly, and you barely get enough time to finish weeding, and it's just quicker for me, personally, to just cut them, leave them on the mat, and then weed them all at once. So all personal preference, of course. I'm gonna go ahead and put the protective sheet back on here because I do not want my, my mat getting dirty, because it actually hangs next to my legs down below. Okay, so let's go ahead and weed this out. It does waste a little vinyl doing it this way, so I do understand if that's just not your vibe and you could totally piece this together. Unfortunately, I don't know, it don't bother me. If it saves my sanity, then I'm going to do it to an extent. Okay, I'm just being very careful, make sure it didn't miss anything, and I don't think it did. Okay, perfect. So there's that one. And then this one, I am just going to weed this whole thing out. I know it's such a waste, but this is such old vinyl. I don't even know how old it is. And it's with old vinyl, it becomes harder and it just doesn't really last very long. And it's been sitting in my craft room for probably 5 years now. So it's time to stop holding on to the small pieces. I'll never get through it in my lifetime. And then this one, definitely could cut it down, I think. Well, I'll just whatever. I'll just weed it out. I had someone that commented and told me that I'm a kind of a wasteful crafter, and I thought that was interesting because if only she saw my craft room tour, you'll see all of the scraps that I have in my craft room. So, oh well. Can't win them all. I'm not going to be everyone's favorite crafter. Not everyone's going to agree with everything I do, and that's fine by me. I don't agree with a lot of other crafters, right? We all have our different approaches to how we want to craft, right? Okay, this one I'm nervous about. Okay, it's just transferring. I think it's going to be an issue, but there was really only one pumpkin? No. Oh my gosh, yes, sure enough, there was only one. Okay, well, now you know. All right. So I think you're gonna, first of all, if you have a lot of pieces, then you're probably thinking, all right, which one should I lay down first? Look at the one that has the most. It's going to be the most helpful one, which this one's going to be the most helpful because it defines some edges of my bookmark. It has a defined edge here, a defined edge here, and I know you guys can barely see it because it's white on white, but it cuts the flowers off and the ghost off, and that will help define the location of where it goes in my bookmark. Okay, so this one obviously it needs to go on top, so that wouldn't work. I could use this, but again, it's just I don't know where this is gonna go. So you want to make sure that you use like an vinyl that defines the edges for you, so that way you know where they go. Now these bookmarks do have a protective film on it, so you're gonna want to try to carefully remove that. Okay. Okay, I'm going to overdo this for a second, but bear with me. I need to flatten this out a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to put that like so. And totally went crooked, but since when do I ever go straight? Okay, let's get that nice and burnished down. Okay, now in Design Space there was a guide. I'm going to use that to kind of help me locate this. You can use parchment paper to you know, so that way you're able to move it around, but I think I'm going to be able to get this. We'll see. I say think and I'll probably be wrong, but there's a nice low glare. I opted not to do, it was hard for me to see the acrylic bookmark with the parchment paper, so I opted not to do it, and I'm really hoping that I got it on there. I kind of got frustrated. I think it was so hard to see. where everything went. Oh shoot. And I totally ripped my flower. Whoopsie daisy. Guess I didn't scrape that down really well. Okay, good deal. So there's that. Let's see here. I'm not going to do the eyes just yet. I can do the, oh, there is 2 pumpkins, but okay. I'm going to do the orange because this is going to line up with the whites. Oh yeah, it was supposed to be a white pumpkin. Okay. Oh shoot, I just took the center off my flower. Oh goodness. Go back on there. Okay. Peel that up. Careful that I don't peel up anything else. And then the last one can go about right there. Okay, so there is our gorgeous bookmark. It is so pretty. Now we get to finish it off with the chiffon. Just move that out of the way. Okay. And then, if you want to look for the chiffon, it is located in the craft area. It's not in their sewing area. I think it's by the paper stuff, actually. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to fold this in half. Okay. I'm going to bring out my little picker tool that I use for card making. I'm going to use the rounded corner so it doesn't poke a really bad hole in it. And I'm just going to poke that through. And put that here. Okay. And then I'm just going to find the opening, pull that up, and there we go. Isn't that just, oh, darn, oh, you know what? You guys, I forgot. There's a protective sheet on the back, and I was going to do that, and then I completely forgot. There you go. That's much better. And you got yourself a Halloween bookmark for your Halloween season of reading. Very cute. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do one more. We're going to do print and cut. This is going to go way faster than this bookmark did. So let's go ahead and hop into Design Space. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and select that whole thing and hit group. And I'm going to go ahead and just hide it because I don't want that to be visible. I got other things that we're going to be doing in another video. We're going to use Cricut's magnetic sheets. So those are ready to queue up and for me to record. But I found this cutie patootie. In fact, actually, I'm going to ungroup that, or I'm going to click on that, and then I think what I'll do is I think it's this one. I'm going to duplicate that, and then I'm going to ungroup that because I don't want to have that part of the group. Nope, this is ungrouped too. There we go. I'm going to regroup that. Okay, and then hide that. Since this is already to size, I guess I don't really need that whole, but I'm going to go ahead and attach that just in case. That'll give me an idea. Okay, so I'm going to size this down and get it all on there. I don't want to go too large. I think that looks good. How sweet is that? Oh my goodness, come on. All right, so we got that. It's easy peasy, right? A lot easier than the final. So if you don't have time or you want to sell these, or, you know, I would sell these for maybe, I don't know, $2 to $3. Maybe you could get away for $5. Maybe you could do like 3 for $8 or something. I don't know. But these would be, I think these would be really good if you to sell, if that's the thing that you do. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit make on the mat for any material, hit confirm, and then here on the left it defaults to 11 by 17, and I'm going to switch it to 8.5 by 11. I don't know why it feels it's necessary to default to that, because I mean seriously, who uses, what is this? Oh, we don't need to do that one, so we can ignore that. Who uses 11 by 17 as more often than 8.5 by 11? I don't know. So okay, so we got that. Now if you, by the way, if you actually, let's go ahead and hit cancel. If you don't want, I'm going to zoom in here. The Cricut's going to go around all of this, right? So if you don't want that, which I don't because I can see it not cutting out nicely, I'm going to do an offset. So I'm using beta mode. So beta mode, you got to click on that little pen, and then you can click on offset. And I don't like that big of an offset. So I'm going to I'm going to go smaller than that. I'm going to do 0.05 as an offset. Maybe go a little bit larger, and the reason why I want to go a little bit larger is because I'm not liking how this looks like, and I'm just not really wanting to add shapes and then weld it, all that stuff. So that looks good. I'm gonna apply, and then I'm gonna change the color. I'm gonna do a lighter. I don't want to do gray. I just want to do white. Let's just do a white offset, and then over here on the panel, or you can just go ahead and make a window like that to grab both of them, and at the bottom right corner you can click on flatten, and then I'm gonna go ahead and hide that and then hit make. Alrighty, so a few things that you're gonna need. You can use the sticker paper. I don't like the shine, so I used the printable vinyl. This is the gray grid, and you're going to want to use a light grip mat. So I'm going to peel that back. Again, this is the 405. This is the 405 light grip mat. I'm going to be careful not to touch the ink. Sometimes this happens when I'm using printable vinyl that the ink kind of smears the corners, so I'm going to kind of avoid that unless I'm going to get ink all over my fingers, and I don't. And I'm going to use my brayer tool. And that way I'm not smearing anything. And then here in design space, there's the printable vinyl with gray liner printing. I'm going to click on that. It's going to read the registration marks, and then it will cut. Alrighty, it looks like it did a good job. So I'm going to flip that over. Perfect. And then I'm going to apply this like a sticker, although I'm sure it still needs some drying time, and quite honestly, I have an appointment that I have to get to here soon, so I don't have time for this to dry. I gotta get this video done. Being really careful. Maybe it might be wise to go from this corner, or from the top rather, and peel. Okay, you want to be very careful that you don't rip those pieces. There we go. Okay. So then I am going to just put it on here like so, and then I can move this around. Actually, you know what? I was thinking this is going to be harder to deal with, but actually it's really not. So I'm just going to do that because it's really hard to see. Oh, shiznit. Okay. Oh, that curled up on me. Okay. Just when I spoke too soon. And I'm not going to use my fingers to push down on it because it still needs time to dry. So I'm just going to use my brayer tool to push that down. And there you go. You have yourself a print and cut. And then of course, I'm not going to forget this time to remove the back. There's that. Take that off. There's our little bow. Not perfect. I'm not a bow. I don't do bows really well. And there's the other one that we did. Oh my goodness, they are so cute. Now you could take this a step further and add some paint, add some brush strokes. You could totally do that, or you could just leave it as it is. But again, here's number one that we did with the vinyl, a little bit more work and effort. This one was very simple and easy. All you had to do is size it down, create an offset, and print it and cut it. You're done. All right, well that is all I have for you in this video. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you guys in the next card or craft video. Bye.